Hey everybody, how you doing? I hope everybody's well today on Saturday, the 19th of September of this crazy 2020 year. I want to share with you an exchange I'm having with my good friend Allen Michaan, who's the owner of the Grand Lake Theater, and we just have a difference of view that I've chosen not so much to make the difference. That's not the issue. I really, it's not a matter of liking or disliking. The people that I have a disagreement with are people I like to begin with. So that's not the issue. Okay. But long ago, when I was a student at the University of California, Berkeley, there was a tendency for those people who are interested in urban economics and particularly also community development I'm just going to say this very bluntly, okay? If they were white, they imposed their ideas as if their ideas were the absolute and you had to believe them, and that was that. There was no room for discussion. And more often than not, their point of views were more politically in line. In other words, you had to be regarded, if you wanted to be regarded as leftist, you had to believe this litmus test or follow this or pass this litmus test of points of view. And that was far back for me, 1985, when I entered the program through 1987. I loved the program. It was the greatest time of my life. And understanding the underpinnings of that kind of thinking and how wrong they can be, because it says first, what does a person on the left think, as opposed to what is the right approach for economic development. All right. That realization that there was that difference was a big part of my growth as a person and something I really learned at Cal. And as I grew, I would simply listen to these ideas, but always believe that there was a better way, a better approach that had nothing to do with politics and everything to do with objectives like making sure people had enough money, which means jobs, and had enough to have a roof over their head, clean air, and water. That's pretty simple, okay? What I find today is that we have quite literally declined as a society because we haven't held those ideals in mind. And now we have a division in the country between the coastal elites, the white coastal elites in particular, and middle America elite. In middle America, middle income to low white Americans as two subsets of an entire whole that includes persons like myself as an African American man and so on. But I digress. All right. For those of you who don't understand what this is, there's something that in stasis called the Oakland Bulk and Oversized Terminal. And the Oakland Bulk and Oversized Terminal has been in existence as an idea roughly since the late 80s to the early 90s, when the Bay Seaport Plan in 1986 called for a bulk terminal at the Port of Oakland. It's really where all this started. By 1991, a bulk terminal was one of the major projects identified by the Oakland Sharing the Vision group of 500, which I was a part. We met at the downtown Oakland Convention Center. It's where I met a lot of my friends, including the current mayor of Oakland and her parents, Phil Tagami of California Capital Investment Group, and who is working on this project, and through which I quite literally begged to have his partner organization, Insight Terminal Solutions, as client, because now I have a media instrumentality to communicate a point of view that I prize and do so in a way that I believe is more efficient and presents a way that is deliberately hybrid, neither left nor right, but intent on solving the very primary objectives, or at least reaching the primary objectives that I presented before. People out of jobs because you believe they shouldn't have the job, and you say, take another job, and the job isn't there. It's no wonder that that group that you're trying to control, which is already poor, has turned to opioids and has a major drug problem that has been identified by people who identify themselves as no coal. That's really evil. It's as if they're making fun of them. Okay? This is what Allen wrote to me about an hour ago. He said, Zinni, yes, coal miners will lose their jobs as the world turns away from this disgusting and highly polluting relic of the 19th century power. Their jobs are not nearly as important as the bigger picture. Keep in mind what he said. What is at stake is the health of everyone exposed to the coal dust along the rail lines, and more importantly, the world environment that is highly impacted by the burning of this poisonous fossil fuel. Our state is burning up. The hurricanes are intensifying in fury and frequency. Enough is enough, he writes. Coal must be shut down immediately and oil phased out ASAP. Again, you are very wrong to support Takami's self-agreed. No coal in Oakland. This was on my marquee a few years ago. This is my response to Allen. I said, hi, Allen. The time to worry about that came in 1975 for me when I read The Limits to Growth as a teen, and then when I made my first computer-based system dynamics model in 2002. The system dynamics models and literature have warned of this long ago. We are 10 years behind because that was when zero population growth was to occur. Allen, the problem is population, okay? We have too many fucking people on the planet. And the best way out of this is to just slow population growth rate. The best way to do that is via promotion of and financing of education worldwide. Any good bioeconomist will tell you that even if we reach zero emissions, we will not, and I repeat, not stop climate change. Why? Too many people. Also, wanting to kick people out of their jobs is not only evil, baseless, and lazy. Sorry, don't mean to offend. It guarantees Trump a second term. Wake up, my friend. I have a broader view of the nation that you or Oakland City Council member Dan Kalb or the stupid-ass white supremacist Sierra Club have. The white coastal elites are hated by the South and Middle America, and for good reason. People like Dan and yourself who want them to lose their jobs and say so just piss them off. So, as I said to Dan, we have to fix this. The Oakland bulk and oversized terminal provides low-skill, well-paying jobs. The homeless in Oakland need them, and so do many in 6 different states which have the coal industry. Tom Steyer is playing hedge fund against American society, and it shows. In other words, Steyer has spent millions trying to shift the very gaze away from traditional energy and into renewables that he has an investment in. The Huntsmans are doing this as well, in part through their publication, the Salt Lake Tribune. So this is not a clean game, if you will. And that's why I'm very happy to say, yes, ITS is my client. I beg to have them because I want you to know where I'm coming from. And not only that, the raison d'etre that drove me for so many decades to get to this point. But I digress, okay? I am committed to forcing America to get back to economic planning without regard for politics. It's what we did with the defense industry, and now we're not doing it at all. The economic whole of our nation has been torn because of this. And let me explain what I mean by the defense industry for a moment. During the 80s, it was quite common for an elected official, regardless of regardless of party, to direct federal funds for a defense project to their state. All right? 88% of defense spending went to cities. That was the real economic development program of the United States of America. Oakland was one of many areas, army bases. Guess what? We destroyed that system. We were supposed to redevelop the army base lands, and folks, to this day, in the Oakland parlance, that has not happened. It has not happened, okay? Our economic development system is broke, moribund, and inept. The person who currently is the economic development officer in Oakland isn't really an economic development officer. They are, by training and by resume, a housing specialist. All right. So we are in gigantic trouble. And I present but one example of a larger problem. Let me continue now. So stop, Alan. Stop supporting something that has already hurt us. Also, Dan mentioned the lone black person in this, the token, if you will. This matter is regarded by a silent majority as a whole group who thinks it's smarter than the others and are telling them what to do. The fact that this is racially split, and it really is, itself shows that institutional racism has set in. Engineering low emission systems that can transport all bulk commodities, including coal, are in order. Right now, Alan, Oakland has one of only 5 low emission train engines in the world, and for the Oakland bulk and oversized terminal. We can do this, Alan. We will do this. Moreover, we will do this in a way that does not help Trump get 4 more years. Pushing workers out of jobs is not something I went to school for, and I will not stand for it today. Economic retention and tech training is the key. Get on the right side, Alan. You're on the wrong one. Climate change is here. We've known this, but we stopped the ethic of fixing the problem and now just want to say no. Not me. No way. Do the hard thing and then keep doing the hard thing. No lazy thinking. We were supposed to have a damn space station colony called L5 decades ago. I don't know if anybody out there even remembers it. Then nothing. And all of the ideas and plans I grew up with went away. It's time to bring them back. Yelling no coal when that industry is still a worldwide operating culture and making steel to make cities makes me think someone's doing too many drugs. We need to fix that industry where the USA is number 3 in the world and move forward. I'm not letting Tom Steyer devalue coal so he can come in and buy up the reserves for himself. Bullshit, man. Bullshit. Don't drink his fucking Kool-Aid, okay? Thanks. Be well, Zinni. And I want to add something else to the point where I said we stopped fixing the problem. When I was growing up, and if you want to say, well, this is like, boomer talking about this, whatever label you want to attach to it, you go and you have your fun. The simple fact of the matter is this. When I was growing up, it was the par Americana, admittedly. It was the time when we believed we could fix our environments. When we identified environmental problems through the book, remember The Silent Spring, that came out the year I was born, which is 1962. It was an exciting time to grow up. There was the emergence of the Rand Corporation, and you're going to talk about Vietnam War and everything that they did that you thought was bad. But trust me, the Rand, which stands for Research and Development Corporation, did a lot of good things too and continues to do so to this day. Again, I digress. The ethic I grew up with, which pushed me to urban planning and economic development, was the idea that our environments could be fixed, could be improved, could be changed. It also came with this collective idea that the future would always be better. It was reflected in our pop culture through my favorite television program, which I became a Trekker, Star Trek. But now, we don't use pop culture to say, hey, here's a technology that we'll see in the future, and someone tries to accelerate the future, right, and brings that to today, as was the case with the iPhone, Steve Jobs, the Apple Corporation, wanted to have come from the communicator in Star Trek. Where's that today? It's dead. And that means our future, our ability to think positively about the future, died too. And it's gotten us this. And you should be alarmed. I am more than alarmed. I'm tired. I'm angry, and I'm forcing change. We've got to get back to a point where we imagine a better future, we plan a better future, and then we implement a better future. All right. And we've got to do that now. It's already more beyond too late. We're already in a climate change point. We were supposed to be, folks, at zero population growth, according to limits to growth and beyond the limits models. Beyond the limits came out in 1993, in 2010, originally 2000. So from my perspective as a system dynamicist, we are living on borrowed time by 10 years and counting. The time to act was a long time ago, but our ethic changed from applying technology to improve the world to applying technology to improve our individual lives. Consumer electronics and the emergence of the field of consumer electronics, betterment in healthcare for us. It was the me generation that drove all of this. We went from the we to the me, and now it's like the micro me generation and what I want every particular moment, because that's how fast we get information today. We have forgotten the collective. And now even our communications are by groups, group versus group. And we're arguing among ourselves, and we've already witnessed an American economy that has decreased in size by a full 1/3. And if that doesn't alarm you, there's something wrong. Many of you say, rather than pump $9 trillion into this economy over in a phased period of payments for the next, say, 10 months, you say, well, the market says we can't do that. Excuse me. In World War II, when we needed to pay the equivalent of $4 trillion today for the war, we did it. And then we fixed the interest rates, and we made absolutely certain it did not become an economic burden on us in years after the war. We engineered these things. We have to stop saying, oh, the sky is falling, we can do nothing, and start saying, we can fix the sky and do something. That is what I'm talking about. All right. That's why I beg to have ITS as my client, because, hey, look, I want to make a job of this. So it's more than it's the platforms that I built and everything else, but it's vitally important, and it always has been as a YouTuber, to say, hey, look, here is who I'm aligned with, right? And where I'm coming from and why. I don't know where other folks are coming from. I don't know, but I have some idea of how many elected officials Tom Steyer is influenced by his spending. If they turned around and said, hey, look, they're paid by Tom, okay, cool. All right. You choose to go in that direction, fine. This is nothing personal against anybody, but there is a gigantic problem that we need to fix as a collective. And I guarantee you, middle America and the South do not like decisions by coastal elites, particularly white middle America South does not like decisions that are made by white coastal elites. That's why President Trump wound up in office. Subscribe to Zenny62 and bookmark oaklandnewsnow.com.